going to go over reporting category number 1 for your STAR algebra test. We're going to go over calculator tricks. So for number 1, the first thing that we are going to do is read the question. It states which expression represents the volume in cubic inches of this prism. So what I want you guys to do first is look for any keywords. Keyword that pops out to me is the word volume. So every time I see the word volume, that's going to tell me to multiply. That's going to tell me to multiply. Now, they tell us for volume, it's always length times width times height. So volume, we know it's length times width times height. Okay? Therefore, we're going to look for those in our problem. So the width is x inches. The length is x squared times y. And the height is going to be y squared. So we're going to substitute those onto our equation. Okay? So we have our length, which is x squared times y. We're going to multiply times our width, which is x inches. And we're going to multiply times our height, finally, of y squared inches. Okay, we're going to use our knowledge for multiplying exponents. So what we look for is our bases. Bases are any letters that are the same. So I have x and x. So I'm going to put as my answer x. That's going to be my first variable. And what I do to my exponents, every time that I'm multiplying, I am going to add my exponents. Now notice how the x on width does not have an exponent. So I'm going to put an exponent of 1. So I am going to add my exponents. So I'm going to do 2 plus 1. That gives me a 3. So x exponent of 3. Now I am going to look at my other variables. I have a y. And I have another y right here. So my next variable would be y. And the same thing to my exponents. I'm multiplying. So every time I multiply, I'm going to add my exponents. The first y does not have an exponent. So I'm going to put my exponent of 1. And my other y has an exponent of 2. So I am going to add my exponents. So 1 plus 2, that gives me 3. This should be my volume. And I am going to look at my answer choices and see which answer choice has that volume. So my answer should be letter D. It's the only one that matches. So it has an exponent of 3 for x, has an exponent of 3 for y. Therefore, letter D is my answer. Now remember, if you guys are working on your packet, I do not want you guys just to circle in the answer. You must explain why the other answers are incorrect. So for letter A, it would not be my answer because x does not have an exponent of 3, y does not have an exponent of 3, and my volume should not include a number 4. So I am going to write that as my explanation for it to be incorrect. So my answer should not have a number 4. My exponents should be 3, not 2. So that would be my explanation for letter A, why it's incorrect. My explanation for letter C should be my exponents should be 3, not 2. And our explanation for letter B, why it's incorrect. Our letter B is incorrect because our answer should not have a 4. So the answer should not have a number 4. That's how you guys need to explain every single question on your packet. So we're done with question number 1. Let's move to question number 2. So for question number 2, it says find the perimeter of a rectangle with a width of 2x plus 5 and a length of 7x minus 2. So what we do, we look at any keywords. Again, I can see the word perimeter. It's familiar to me, and I should know that for perimeter, I am going to add. So when I see the word perimeter, that means that I am going to add. My keyword perimeter tells me that I need to add. I have a rectangle, so I am going to draw my rectangle. That way I do not miss anything. Okay, then it's telling me that I have a width of 2x plus 5 and that I have a length of 7x minus 2. So I am going to place those onto my rectangle. So 7x minus 2, remember, if the bottom is 7x minus 2, that means the top will be 7x minus 2. Then I go with my width. I know my width is 2x plus 5. So 2x plus 5. If the right side is 2x plus 5, the left side will be 2x plus 5. Then we move on to our calculator trick. Remember, we said the word perimeter means to add, and we have to add everything around the shape. So on my calculator, I am going to grab my calculator. I am going to grab my calculator, and I am going to go to y equals, okay? Every time that I have a problem that contains only one variable, so that's very key, one variable only. On number 2, the only variable that I have is x. I can use my calculator to solve it for me. On y1, I am always going to put in my question. My question is, what's the perimeter? So all of my perimeters should go on y1. So every time, perimeter should go on y1. On y2, I am going to put one of my answer choices. Then I am going to press the second button. Then I am going to press the graph button. And I am going to check if y1 and y2 match. So let's go over the process. So now we have our calculator, and we're going to do on y1, I'm going to put my perimeter. So remember, perimeter is all 4 sides of the rectangle added. So I'm going to put parentheses 7x minus 2, close parentheses because that's one side, then plus, because perimeter tells me to add, open parentheses again, 2x plus 5, close parentheses, plus the bottom side, 7x minus 2, add again, close parentheses, then we have 2x plus 5. Now that I have all my sides, then I move down to y2, and I'm going to put my first answer choice. So my first answer choice is letter A. So I'm going to put 14x squared. 14x squared minus 10. Then I'm going to press second button, graph, and I am going to look at my table. So notice how I have on my table. I have y1 and I have y2. And I'm going to check to see if my numbers match. I have 6 and negative 10. They're different. 24 and 4, they're different. 42, 46 are different. All of my answers on y1 and y2 are different. So that is not going to be my answer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my problem. I'm going to cross out letter A, and I am going to cross it out. I'm going to say y1 and y2 do not match. That's why it is incorrect. So now I am going to go back to my calculator. I'm going to go back to y. The problem doesn't change. The problem is still the same. The only thing that's going to change is my answer choice. So I'm going to delete y2. And I am going to try another answer choice, which is going to be letter B. So I'm going to put 9x plus 3. And I am going to repeat the process. Second button, graph. And I am going to check to see if my y1 and y2 match. So y1 I have 6, y2 I have 3. y1 I have 24, y2 I have 12. They are different. Therefore, my answer choice B is incorrect as well. So I'm going to go back to my problem, cross it out, and I am going to put y1 and y2 do not match. Okay, so we're getting closer to our answer. Now let's look at letter C. So y equals, the first one stays the same because it's my problem. Then the second one, I am going to clear it, and I am going to put answer choice C. So I'm going to put 18x plus 6. Second graph, and I'm going to make sure that my y's are equal. So I have 6, 6, 24, 24, 42, 42, 60, 60, 78, 78, 96, 96, 114, 114. If I move, all of my values are exactly the same on y1 and y2. Therefore, my answer is going to be letter C. And I am going to delete the steps just so that I can write my explanation. So my answer choice is letter C. So I'm going to put y1 and y2 match. And please give me an example. That way I know you're making the right choice. That way you know you guys are making the correct choice. So I can put when x equals 3, I have 60, 60. When x equals 4, 78, 78. And when x equals 5, 96, 96. Okay? So y1 and y2 match. Therefore, that's going to be my answer. And we move on to question number 3. Okay, here is another problem that we have a keyword on. So every time that you see the word equivalent, so if I see a word equivalent and I have only one variable, okay, by one variable, remember, I'm looking at my variables. So I have the word equivalent, and then I have only one variable. Therefore, I am going to use the same method as problem number 2. I am going to use calculator. Remember, y1 is the problem. y2 are the answer choices. Then we press second button. Then we press the graph button. I'm repeating the steps, therefore, so that you guys don't forget. Make sure you're writing them down. That way you will have them for every single problem. So y2, answer choices, second graph. Then we look to see if y1 and y2 match. Those are the steps that we are going to take. So we're going to look to see if y1 and y2 match again. I'm going to delete by steps. Make sure you copy it down. You guys can press pause to write down the steps. I am erasing them because I don't have enough space to write all of this. Okay, so I'm going to take out my calculator, just like we did before. Now I'm going to move it to the left side so that you guys can see the problem. I'm going to clear that. I'm going to clear that. Now on y1, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my problem. So on y1, I'm going to put my problem, which is going to be 6x squared minus 13x plus 5. Then on y2, I am going to put my first answer choice. Remember to put answer choices exactly how you see them. So parentheses, 3x minus 1, close parentheses, parentheses again, 2x plus 5. That's exactly how it looks on my problem. Then second button, graph, and I'm going to check to see if y1 and y2 match. So they do not match. They're different. Even if I move it, they're going to be different. Therefore, I know that is not my correct answer. So I am going to go back to my problem. I'm going to cross that out, and I am going to put y1 and y2 do not match. So that's my explanation for F. Then I am going to get my calculator again. Press Y equals. Problem is not changing, problem is the same. So I'm only going to clear y2. And I'm going to put my answer choice number 2. So parentheses, 3x minus 5. Close parentheses, open parentheses again, 2x minus 1. Close it. Just double check that you're putting everything correctly. Then we can press second, graph, and I am going to check my y's. 5, 5. Then I go down, -2, -2. 3, 3. 20, 20. 49 and 49. I think that's my answer. All of them match. So I am going to put y1 and y2 match. So y1 and y2 match. And then I can put, remember to put your examples. So I have x, y1, y2. And I'm going to look at my calculator. So I have 0, 1, and 2. And I have 5, -2, 3. 5, -2, 3. 5, -2, 3. They are both y1 and y2 are the same, so they do match. We're moving to problem number 4. For problem number 4, it says there are 32 founding members of an organization. The function y equals 3x squared plus 32 can be used to determine the number of members in the organization after x months. Based on this function, what statement is true? When they ask you what statement is true, I am going to use my calculator and I am going to put my problem. So I know that this function right here is used to determine the number of members on the organization. So this tells me how many members are in the organization. And X represents the months. So I am going to put it on my calculator. Please remember to clear it after you guys do a problem. That way you do not have more information that you need. So on Y1, I'm going to put my equation. So 3x squared plus 32. That's my equation. That's going to tell me how many members I have on the organization after months have passed. So the next thing I do, I go to second graph, and I'm going to look at my table. So after 0 months have passed, I have 32 members. So I'm starting the organization with 32 members. After 1 month passes, I have 35 members. After 2 months pass, I have 44 members. So this is how we're going to read our table. So let's look at our answer choices. The number of members in the organization increases by 9 members each month. Is that correct? So from 35 to 44, is that 9 members each month? So it does go from 35 to 44, that's 9 members. Now it says each month, so we don't stop there. We continue. So 44, is it 9 members from 44 to 59? No, right? It's more than 9. So therefore, A is not my answer. So I am going to cross out letter A. Make sure to read throughout the table. Don't go by the first number. So my explanation can be for the first month, the members increased by 9, but by the second month, it increased by how much? So we have from 44 to 59, so it increased by 15. That is the explanation why letter A is not my answer. Make sure you're writing this on your packet. That's going to be part of your grade. So now that we have that, let me erase it, because that way we can put our explanation for the other answer choices. So answer choice number 2 says, at the end of 16 months, there will be 288 members. So we can use our calculator, and we're going to go by the end. Remember that X is the number of months. So if I go to 16, are there only 288 members in my organization? No. We have a total of 800, and the answer choice says 288. So this would be incorrect. My explanation would be, at the end of the 16th month, I will have 800 members, not 288. That's why that answer choice is incorrect. So make sure we have that down. Remember, you guys can pause it so you guys can copy your notes. And I'm going to delete it now so that we can go to the third answer choice. For my third answer choice, it says the number of members in the organization increased by 3 members each month. So we already saw that it's not increasing by 3. If we go up to the top, that way we can see it a little bit clearer. We can see that the first, it increases by from 32 to 35. Right here, from 32 to 35 members. So it increased by 3. Yes. Then it increased by 9. And then it increased by 15. So no, the organization is not increasing 3 members each month. So we can cross that one out. And we can write no. The first time it increased by 3, then it increased. So first it increased by 3, then by 9. Increased by 9. Then it increased by 9. And that should be plenty of information for that. So that's going to be your answer for why is letter C incorrect. If you can tell me why the answers are incorrect, then you guys have a better chance of getting more answers correct on the test. So please make sure you guys are explaining. I'm going to delete this now, and we're going to just check. I know these 3 are wrong, but I'm going to check because I always want to be certain that my answer is correct. So I'm going to check the last one. The last one says, at the end of 6 months, there will be 144 members in the organization. So I'm going to use my calculator, and I am going to check when x equals 6. So at the end of that month, I will have 140 members. So I can see there that yes, this one's correct. Therefore, that's going to be my answer. So I can put here as my explanation, when x equals 6, y equals 140, which is what this is telling me. Y, x. So that concludes problem number 4. And we can go to problem number 5. For problem number 5, it's asking me which representation does not show a function. That's very, very important. So make sure that every time we're doing our problems, we read the question correctly. This one says not function, okay? Remember, not a function. So which one is not a function? A function, remember, function x's do not repeat. So I'm looking at letter F. I have 2, -8, -1, -1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 8. X's are not repeating, so yes, it's a function. So I'm going to put yes. Yes, it's a function. X's do not repeat. That's for letter F. So that's going to be not my answer because this one is saying which one is not. For the next one, remember, x's do not repeat. So I'm looking at my x's again. I have 2, 5, 7, and 8. They're all different numbers, So this one, yes, it's a function. So yes, it's a function. X does not repeat. So the X does not repeat. So yes, it's a function. So that's not going to be my answer. Remember, when we have points, guys, we're looking at our X for function and not a function. The X value will always be the first number. The Y value would be the second number for every point. So my X is the first number, X is my first number, X is my first number, and X is my first number. So, is this a function? Yes or no? Of course. So yes, this one is a function. So yes, it's a function. X's do not repeat. So those are the explanations I want you guys to give me. So that's not going to be my answer. By logic, my last one should be the answer. But let's just double check. Remember, when we have a graph, for it to be a function, it must pass the vertical line test. What I mean with vertical line test, I am going to draw lines vertically. If my line touches more than one point at the time, a straight line up and down, then it is not a function. So for this one, we're going to do the vertical line test. So just straight up and down. Boom, I touched 2 points. Boom, I just touched 2 points again. Boom, 2 points. I touched 2 points here, here, here. So this one is not a function. Not a function, we fail a vertical line test. Now, because my answer is saying not, this one's going to be my answer because that is not a function. So that would be my answer. Question number 6. And I'm going to delete a little bit of it because I want all my space to be here for number 6. For number 6, guys, some of us have problems when we have fractions. So just because we have fractions, the process does not change. We're going to see our keyword equivalent. Our keyword should be equivalent. Remember, equivalent, that means use y equals. So this tells me use y equals. On the calculator, I only have one variable, which is m. So I can use y equals. So what I am going to do is I'm going to get my calculator. I'll move it a little bit to the side so you guys can see. Now remember, the only important thing about this is that we are adding parentheses every time that we see fractions. Otherwise, my questions are going to be wrong. So I'm going to turn on my calculator. I'm going to go to y equal, delete everything that I have. Remember, the problem goes on y1. So I'm going to put my problem on y1. The only thing that I'm going to change is instead of the letter m, I'm going to use the letter x on my calculator so I can read it perfectly. So I'm going to put 2, then I'm going to use x, then I have parentheses. That parentheses comes from the problem. Now, every time I see a fraction, I automatically put more parentheses. So I'm going to put parentheses, 3 divided by 2, close parentheses, because it's a fraction. Then I continue on with the problem, x plus 1. The problem says close parentheses, so I close parentheses. Then I have a plus sign. Then I have a 3. Then my problem says parentheses. I see a fraction, so I'm going to put parentheses again. 5 divided by 3. Close parentheses once, because that's the end of the fraction. Then put the letter x minus 2. And the problem says close parentheses. That's my problem. That goes on y1. Then my answer choices go on y2. So I start by putting the first answer choice, 3. Instead of the letter m, I put the x, just like the problem. Then it says squared plus 5x minus 1. Process is the same. Second button, graph. And I'm going to check to see if y1 and y2 match. -6, -1, different. 4, 7, different. 20, 21, different. So no, that is not my answer. So I'm going to cross it out, and I am going to put y1 and y2 do not match. Get the calculator again, go to y equals, remember y1 does not change because that's my problem. Then we go to y2 and that's what we clear. And we put answer choice B. So 3x squared plus 7x minus 6. Second button, graph, and I'm going to see if they match. So -6, -6. 4, 4, 20, 20, 42, 42, 70, 70, 104, 104, 144, 144. Yes, they do match. Therefore, my answer is going to be B. So my answer is going to be B, and my explanation is y1 and y2 match. And I am going to put an example. So x, y1, y2, and I put the example. 0, 1, 2, and then I have -6, 4, and 20. That's all coming from my table. And we are done with problem number 6.